Good morning, everybody. Wow, welcome to Greater Life, Greater Impact. It's so nice to see all your beautiful smiling faces on here. It's a beautiful morning here in Missouri. We have a lot of new faces on this morning. So just by way of introduction, I'm Janet. I'm a quantum healing practitioner. And what I do is I help take people to the uncharted waters of who they really are for healing, for personal empowerment, to develop personal sovereignty, and to have spiritual awakening. So if that sounds like something that you're interested, then you are at the right place. And hopefully those of you who are watching the replay of this on YouTube a little bit later, hopefully you get some benefit from this class as well. Feel free to share this with loved ones and people that you care about that you think these messages might be of value to. So today, this is episode 5 of our sovereignty series. We're talking all about sovereignty all year this year. I think it's one of those topics, one of those subjects as human beings that is probably one of the most valuable things that we could seek to attain is this idea of self-mastery and self-development and being the autonomous rulers over our own kingdom, which is our life. Your life is your kingdom. And so I'm really excited to start covering the topic of sovereignty and going a lot deeper this year. Today, we're talking about agendas. So I want you to really think about where in your life have outside agendas been projected onto you. So I just want you to kind of get into your body and think about that. What does that look like for you personally in your life? And then maybe even also on the flip side, are you projecting your agendas into your life and onto the people you care about anywhere? Is there anywhere in your life where you're doing that? So just take a minute. You may want to grab a pencil and a paper so that you can journal some of this out. It might be helpful to write some notes down as we're going through this, but we are going to get into some healing today. Before we do, I really want to focus on where agendas even come from. Let me give you an example, and maybe this will help you guys to kind of discover in your own lives what agendas are being put upon me that maybe don't align with my highest truth and my highest will, and where am I seeking to control the narrative so that my agendas can be brought to fruition, right? Agendas are really nothing more than expectations, putting out expectation onto your external world. So people or situations or scenarios, it has to play out a certain way, or somehow it's going to be a reflection on you or others. Right? It has to play out a certain way. Now, agendas can sometimes be a good thing. Agendas mostly are about control and manipulation because of fear. Now, look at the world that we live in right now. Isn't it interesting that those who are seeking to control the narrative for the population, they're doing it through the tool they're using fear. They're using your feelings against you so that they can then get you to do things that maybe you wouldn't normally do. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about agendas. So where in your life does that play out in other ways, not just the blatantly obvious way that's happening right now to the whole world, but in your relationships, in your external world, where are agendas being put upon you that maybe don't align with you, but you give in to get along because perhaps there is a little bit of fear, maybe there's some insecurity, maybe there's some shame coming up. So let's kind of take a look. Let's go inside. I think that sovereign beings are really good at humbly taking an honest look at their insides, at what's going on in here. What am I doing and why am I doing that? To me, that's what sovereignty really looks like, is if you're a person who really is willing to take that honest, deep look inside of yourself and then make changes based on what you discover, that's the epitome of sovereignty in my mind. Now, Agendas, expectations. Do people project their expectations onto you, or are you projecting it into the world? My little story I was going to share was I come from an LDS background. We used to do something called family home evening. And in our family home evenings, this was a time where parents could instruct their children in their spiritual practice and teach them things that would be beneficial for them in growing in their faith, right? Well, I had this mental idea in my mind as to what family home evening was supposed to look like. And I projected that agenda clearly onto everybody. And when it didn't go my way, and when it didn't play out the way I thought it was supposed to play out, and it ended up turning into a big family fight instead of a family night, I got frustrated. And anyways, and then it creates all this insecurity, and it creates all of this fear and all of this shame around the fact that you can't create the kind of life that you think you're supposed to be creating through force and manipulation. Those are all energies that have a tendency to live in the solar plexus, which is just below the heart center. So you've got your heart center here in behind your lungs, and you drop down just below the sternum. Right here, we've got your power center, which is your solar plexus. And that is the region of the body that governs sovereignty. And it governs self-esteem and self-confidence and free will and autonomy. All of those things is kind of rooted in that, in your core, right here, just below the breastbone, just below your sternum. Somebody, a kind of a person who is balanced in their third chakra, which is the solar plexus. If you come across a person who's balanced in those energies, typically they have a high self-esteem, they have high levels of self-confidence, they can look you in the eye, you actually feel really good around them because they're projecting these good inner feelings about their own selves out into the world and onto you, inviting you to also be an autonomous and sovereign being. Somebody who is balanced in their third chakra has a healthy exploration for the things that they love. They love to play. They usually have a good sense of humor. They have a good sense of themselves and who they are. They set up very healthy boundaries, and they communicate those boundaries to the people that they're with. For example, when they step into a room, you know where they stand. They're not, when they step into the room, the energy that they put off is, don't mess with me. Don't push my buttons. But, maybe it's not overbearing. That would be maybe an overabundance of that kind of energy. But a person who's balanced in their solar plexus is really easy to connect with. They're very likable. They're very present with you. They make eye contact with you. They seek to understand you. Again, they have that fearless energy. And the reason that you feel so safe around these kinds of people is because you know where you stand with them. Have you ever noticed that when you're around someone who's a little more insecure, maybe has less boundaries, their boundaries are just all over the map, they're kind of wishy-washy, they don't have a good sense of self, it's hard to be around them because you don't know where you stand, you don't know what the boundary is, and it's hard to know how to show up in that space. And so it feels very uncomfortable and it feels very unsafe. And the person may not be lying to you, but there's something about them that you sense that just feels untruthful. You can't trust them because maybe your soul knows, your spirit knows that they aren't even being truthful with themselves. So this is where this kind of energy comes from. And when people project their unhealthy agendas onto you, it's an interesting experience to witness and to stand back and watch and observe and see what happens to you in those moments. Do you stand up for yourself? Do you speak your truth? Do you claim, no, this is where I stand. This is how it's going to go. um, this is what is in alignment with me at the moment. And don't cross that boundary, right? Or are you the pushover? Do you give in to get along? Are you evasive with your feelings and your emotions? Do you kind of just go quiet when other stronger, more powerful opinions are being projected onto you? Maybe even in a manipulative and controlling way. Do you shut down in those moments? That's a sign of an imbalance, maybe even a lack of energy in your solar plexus versus too much energy. And if there's too much energy in that area, then you probably are going to be the one yelling and screaming to get your way, pounding your fists, right? Stomping the floor, trying to control the narrative, trying to get other people to comply with where you stand and see the world the way you see it, right? Let's see, here we have a comment. Anne says, that used to be me, shut down to avoid conflict. Yeah, that used to be me too, to some degree. I think it still tries to rear its ugly head from time to time because I am in relationships with very strong-willed, strong, powerful people. And sometimes if you don't have a good sense, healthy sense of yourself, you can easily get pushed over. Not even intentionally. So this is all about autonomy. It's about sovereignty. So I want you to just think about agendas for a minute. What agendas do you have? What agendas do you feel like you need to be, this needs to play out this way? And if it doesn't, then I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to lose it, right? Or I'm going to feel, and why do you feel that way? Let's look at it for a minute. Shauna says, truth is my agenda. Yeah, me too. I love truth. I'm a truth seeker like you are. Yes, but sometimes in our quest for truth, we can often, the energy can go sideways too. If we kind of think we have truth and we're holding on to these fixed mental positions of how we think the world looks or how we think things really are, and then somebody comes into our space and they counter that, or I'm trying to think of the right word, they threaten, right? The truth that you maybe think that you have sometimes, and that can cause this power struggle that happens. So often when the energies are really weak in our power center, it's easy to push us over, and we'll end up using words like, I can't, I'm too afraid, or I have no choice in the matter. So we may end up playing the role of the martyr or the victim. And if that is the case, then you project that energy out into the world, you're going to continue to create more of it, more of that. Also, let me let somebody in. There we go. Also, here's something interesting that happens too with agendas, or maybe even a lack of agenda, maybe not a lack of agendas, but a lack of boundaries. Oftentimes in relationships, the person that is overbearing in the power center, the person that's more manipulative and controlling, which, by the way, if there's two, one's the strong, one's the weak, they're both manipulative, I guarantee you. It's not just one or the other. They're both playing that game, just in different ways. But let's say you have one person in the relationship that's a little more controlling and overbearing and loud, right? And projecting their agendas onto you. And maybe you're the one who plays the role of the victim, and you're a little bit more evasive, and you're a little bit more indirect, and you're a little bit more shut down in your ability to stand in your truth. Then there's this big gap, there's this imbalance. And typically the one that is a little weaker in their power center, they won't have healthy boundaries. They don't even know what their boundaries are. And so they can't express them to you. when you have children that are raised in that kind of a situation or that kind of a scenario, if the energy is weak around personal power and sovereignty, then the child is raised with no boundaries, and they're completely, they can't make choices for themselves because they don't know where the boundaries even are. They don't know how to interact or interface with you. And so they end up getting indulged, right? And they end up feeling like the world owes them something. A person who's raised by an overbearing parent, maybe you have both. Person raised by an overbearing parent who's the loud one, pounding their fists and yelling and screaming to get control, projecting their agendas onto the child. Maybe there's too many boundaries. And the child is like, I can't even think for myself because there's so many rules, there's so many boundaries. And so the child also is raised completely, totally lost and insecure because they can't make their own choices. Either way, the child is raised insecure with insecure feelings. They don't stand in their own sovereignty. They don't have autonomy because they weren't taught that. And they're always afraid, or they're always feeling shame. So, and if that is the case, then that person is going to attract another unhealthy, unbalanced sovereign being, and it just goes on and on and on. So how can we change this? How can we break the cycle? How can we stand in our own sovereignty and autonomy as more healthy beings and speak our truth and stand in our truth unapologetically without pushing people over? That's really the question of the day, because at the end of the day, whether we're confident in our truth and in ourselves or not, we still don't want to be the bully. And we also don't want to bully others. Like I said at the beginning, your life is your kingdom. And so how you end up ultimately choosing to rule your kingdom will tell you a lot about where you're at on the sovereignty level. And again, this class is all about personal and spiritual sovereignty so that we can become the kind of beings that have something of value to add to the world without pushing others over or without becoming a victim that is powerless. If you're the kind of person who's constantly making bad decisions and bad choices, it's largely because you don't have a healthy sense of personal power or sovereignty. And so that's definitely something to look at. Your power center is all about free will and personal power. It's how you project yourself out into the world, but it's also how you rule your kingdom, which is your life, right? How are you governing? How are you making choices and decisions about the way that your life goes? Or are you handing all of your power over to somebody else? Because I guarantee you, if you don't claim personal power over your life, somebody else is going to be happy to do that for you. There's a really great quote by Rumi from the Book of Wisdom, and he talks about how there is only one power in the universe, and that is the power of choice. Everything else, all else follows, he says. So the power of free will. Do you honor your free will? Do you honor the free will of others? Do you let them show up however they're going to show up without you being threatened, without your truth being threatened or your sovereignty being threatened? Do you just allow people to show up the way that they do? Or do you give your power away to other people who are projecting their agendas onto you? So today we're going to do some cleaning up. We're going to do some housekeeping in our solar plexus today. So I really want you to just drop down into your body. Take a minute to go inside. Take a minute to take some deep breaths. Don't hold your breath. Don't ever hold your breath. Well, unless you're doing specific healing breaths and it's for a specific purpose, but be mindful of the breath that moves through you and that breathes you. As you breathe in through your nose and then out through your mouth, I want you to just start to develop an inner awareness. Take your attention and go inside for just a minute. And I want you to just ask the question to yourself: how do you define yourself to others? Are you a pushover? Are you a bully? Are you a hard worker? Are you kind? How do you project your personal power, your autonomy out into the world? And just breathe into that. So slow your breath down. I want you to become more and more aware of the breath, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. You should hear wind coming through the lips. So close your lips just a tiny bit, slow that exhale way down. We're going to do some healing in our power centers today, because I think we all need it. We all get yanked out of balance. We all get yanked out of our personal sovereignty from time to time. Your sovereignty is about decision making. It's about ethics. It's about it's about being true to who you really are and living your life in a place of integrity and standing up for that and speaking that. So as that truth of who you are comes up through the heart center and up through your throat chakra, this is the chimney. Your mouth is the chimney to your soul. So do you swallow? Do you hold back? Do you hold back a portion of who you are? Do you give in to get along? Do you give your power away to others because you're too afraid that it will upset them? Keep breathing into your body. I want you to just drop down deeper and deeper into the body, going all the way down to the base of the spine. When you breathe out, drop your shoulders a little bit, just kind of relax your body. We're going to look for a feeling of relaxation. We're going to take our attention, our awareness, and be in our bodies and be centered as we do this work. You can close your eyes if you want to, or you can open your eyes. But as you breathe in, I want you to picture yourself bringing in tons and tons and tons of liquid light on the inhale. So that can come up through the feet. It can come in through the breath. It can come in however it wants to. I just want you to breathe it in. Breathe in tons and tons of liquid light. On the exhale, this is an expelling breath. It's a letting go breath. So just letting go of all the gunk, all the stuck energy around boundaries, sovereignty, agency, free will, personal power, self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-love. That's the energy we're focusing on today. So just breathe that in. And how do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about the way that you present yourself to the world? When you stand in a room full of people, are you one of the most stable energies in the room? Or do you allow the energies of others to control how you show up? Keep breathing. Do you do as much for yourself as you do for other people? Or do you give and give and give and give and give until you're empty? Because for some reason, you have to have people like you and approve of you because you don't approve of yourself. So let's look into those energies. Where in your body do you feel the gunky, heavy stuckness around sovereignty and free will and your social identity? Where in your life, where in your body do you feel that gunky energy coming up that's blocking you? Babby says, I was getting neutral, how I show up and kind, but I also hold back because I don't like conflict. However, I assert myself when walked on. Wow, good for you. Good, as you should. Neutrality is actually a really powerful place to come from, because then in the moment, as you're in the present moment, you get to choose. You get to decide how you show up. That's sovereignty, is expressing your free will and letting people know, hey, this doesn't work for me. Or, I'm sorry, that isn't in alignment with where I'm at right now. So can we come up with creative and powerful ways to express our boundaries to people so that they know where we're coming from and it's not upsetting to them? It just is what it is. It's like we're stating a fact. Can we be in a place of neutrality so that when somebody threatens our fixed mental positions, we don't feel like our buttons are being pushed to the point that we have to then retaliate? It just is what it is. That's their point of view. I'm going to stand in my truth over here, and that's fine. You do you. I think that's really the epitome of what personal sovereignty really looks like. It's honoring the agency of others, but also at the same time honoring your own. So do you overgive in order for people to approve of you, in order for you to feel safe because you're too afraid to stand up for yourself and nurture yourself and honor yourself and align with the truth that's in yourself? Do you ignore that truth? Do you ignore the gut instincts? Because your power center is all about your hunches, your gut instincts. This is where your higher self communicates with you truths that your brain will never be able to give you. So, and it is all about honesty. Are you honest with yourself, or do you hold back and swallow your truth back in order to give in to get along? Okay, practice focusing. A sovereign person is one who can practice focusing on completing projects. Oftentimes people who are yanked out of a sovereign place and they're in a state of imbalance there find themselves wishy-washy. They can't make good decisions. They have a hard time making decisions. They have a hard time bringing projects to fruition. They have good ideas, but they can't ever execute on those ideas because they're not standing in a place of personal power and sovereignty. So kind of take a look at where that lives in your life. Where is this energy coming up in your body? Notice it. Woo. I'm feeling tons coming up in the power center, in the actual gut, the upper gut. So just want you to notice that. And as you're breathing into that space, into that center, let's elongate the exhale so that you can just let go of this unhealthy energy that's weighing you down. So slow the exhale down, drop your shoulders on the exhale. Letting go, letting go, letting go. You can even take your thumb, press down right here on the sternum, just below the sternum, actually, not actually on your sternum, but just below it where the gut starts to stick out a little bit, pressing down just gently with your thumb. And on the exhale, as you drop your shoulders and you sink your awareness into the body, let the abdominal muscles relax. We want to look for relaxation in your muscles because that's surrender. That's stepping into the now, which is where your power is. Breathe in, breathe out. Letting go, letting go, letting go. Looking for the tension, those little pockets. Are you holding tension in your eyes, in your face? Is it in your throat? You notice. Where do you notice? That tension is where you're storing data around what we're talking about today. Personal power, sovereignty, free will. And we don't have to go into a lengthy talk therapy session to find out what that is. We just have to find out, where are you storing this information on your hard drive or your body? Choose to engage that energy and let it go. Do you make commitments and stick to them, or are you wishy-washy in your firm resolve? Breathe in, breathe out. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I want you to keep breathing. Excuse Excuse me. Keep breathing. Keep your awareness at least down below your heart. If you can go down to the base of the spine and just put your attention there, that would be fantastic. You can also go down the legs, the hips and the legs and underneath your feet if you'd like to, but just put your awareness within. Drop it down. I've already got stuff coming up. It's being cleared. It's coming out of the truth center. Drop your shoulders, relax your face, let go of the tension, and just surrender. If you want, you can close your eyes and just go deep into the stillness of your soul. Go deep into the foundation of your soul at the base of the spine. Cynthia says, I'm holding my breath a lot lately. Yes. Never hold your breath. It weakens you. It weakens your sense of personal power. So just breathe in intentionally, fill up your lungs, fill up your body with that light. Pretend that on the inhale, you're breathing in tons and tons of liquid light, and it's filling up your bones, your cells, your systems. It's flowing through your body. Breathe out, let go. Drop your shoulders, relax your gut. You can also take your thumb and move down a couple of inches now that you've done just below the sternum. Move down into the center of the gut, just above the navel. You can still think tall. You can lift yourself for sure. Think tall. Keep your awareness at the base of the spine or lower. Press in gently on your gut and allow the tension in your abdominal muscles to relax and surrender. Drop your shoulders on the exhale and allow your awareness to just go down. Sinking down into the foundation of your soul. Do you say things that truly and honestly reflect your own inner truth, or do you hold back? And all I want you to do is I ask you these questions. There's a whole bunch of them. We're not even going to get through all of them, but as I ask you the questions, I want you to notice in your body, where do you feel that energy? And just choose to breathe and soften and release. Breathe and soften and release. The exhale is about letting go. The inhale is about nourishing. Okay, next question. Do you think before you act or speak? Do you allow people to walk on you and disrespect you and control you and manipulate you? Even in big, scary social settings, when the group as an entirety is giving in to get along, do you go against the grain in order to honor the integrity of your soul? I'm not talking about going against the grain just so that you can be a jerk. I'm talking about going against the grain of groupthink so that you can honor the integrity of your soul. What is your spirit leading you to do? Breathe in, breathe out, let go. Notice where the tension comes up in your body. That's where the data is being stored, and we're just going to release it. We're going to release it all today. So just keep breathing in through your nose. Big deep breaths, and then out through your mouth. Drop down into your hips. Do you walk on other people in order to disrespect them? Do you try to control others by yelling at them or screaming to get your way? Or maybe you don't yell or scream, but you covertly give them the silent treatment. You push people away. Do you give up your power to people who do this to you? Do you have people in your life that are louder, bigger, stronger, meaner, more intimidating, more scary? Do you give your personal power and sovereignty over to them because you're too afraid? Keep breathing. Drop down into your hips and into your belly and just breathe a lot. We're going to do some more intense breathing as we get deeper into this healing process. But I just want you to notice, where is this coming up for you? Where are you feeling the tension, the tightness, the gunk in your body? Again, your power center is fueled by the free will. If this is your fire center, if you have a fire in your gut, you know who you are. You know what you're supposed to get done. You know what you're supposed to do here. That fire in your gut is what burns intensely. And then this is the chimney of the soul, your mouth, your heart chakra. You're either going to express it with your hands by creating something amazing and doing something amazing, or you're going to speak your truth, or you're going to creatively and freely express that truth, because that light wants to come up and out. So what blocks the solar plexus is shame and fear. If you feel shame and fear, you will be blocked in your solar plexus. So let that go. I want you to just breathe into your body and let go of all the fear that's coming up for you in this moment. Breathe out. What are you ashamed of? What are you afraid of? What are you ashamed of? What are you afraid of? And notice that. Lots of yawning. Good job. That's an indicator that you're changing the frequency of the energy in your system, and it's releasing, it's moving. So good. Yawning is a sign that you are processing. So good job. Keep your attention, again, get down into your belly, get down into your hips and your legs, drop down into the foundation of your soul. Really go deep. What are you ashamed of? What are you afraid of? Don't answer the question. Just find out, where in your body are you feeling the effects of it? What about yourself are you the most disappointed in? What is the most disappointing about yourself that you feel for yourself? Your solar plexus is also, not only is it a place where we develop sovereignty, autonomy, good levels, healthy levels of self-esteem and self-worth and confidence. It's your personal power, right? It's where you develop self-love, is in this center. So where in your body have you fallen out of love with yourself? Where are you disappointed? Where in your body do you feel that self-rejection? So I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I want you to just say yes. Everybody say yes. You can say it out loud because you're all muted anyway. So say yes to these questions. And so my first question, actually drop down into your body, into your belly, into your hips, and breathe. Breathe deeply and soften, dropping your shoulders again, like we talked about, letting go of those muscles in the abdomen. Whew, good. Keep going. And can you let go of disapproving of yourself? Say yes out loud, like you mean it. And can you let go of disapproving of yourself some more? Say it. Breathe in, breathe out, let go. Drop your shoulders, relax the gut. Let those muscles that are tense soften, surrender. Relax your throat, your tongue, your swallowing muscles. Relax your eyeballs. Breathe in, breathe out, let go. And can you let go of disapproving of yourself some more? And can you let go of disapproving of yourself even more than that? Wow, I'm processing. My throat chakra is on fire. I'm healing right along with you guys. And can you let go of disapproving of yourself even more than that? Just say yes. Breathe in, breathe out, let go. Good. Okay. And where in your body do you feel disappointed in yourself? And can you let that go? Breathe in, breathe out. Yeah, Anne says it's a great reminder that our bodies store all emotions. They do, especially the unresolved ones. So you got to let those go. Let it come up, let yourself feel it, stay with that feeling and breathe through it. Let it breathe you. Let your body do all the work. If you go up into your head and start talking too much about this and analyzing it, your body won't do the work. So you got to let the body do the work. And can you let go of all the disappointments about yourself? Wow, that one's huge. Are you noticing that? Breathe in, breathe out, let go. Just let it go. Just like you drop a stone into a pool of water and the water ripples out. If this stone, this little pebble you drop into the ocean, you're never going to see that again. You're letting it go forever, permanently. It's not coming back. Yes, Kim, go ahead. I do not hear you. Are you speaking? You're muted. Go ahead, Kim, if you have a question. Your heart just got a pain. Interesting. Yeah, if you want to speak, you can unmute yourself. I can't unmute you from here, it looks like. Chrissy says, I'm sobbing through this. Yeah, right? Right. And are you willing to let go even more? Just interrupt me, Kim, if you want to come on, or anybody, if you have questions or comments. And are you willing to release on the exhale? Are you willing to release those disappointments that you have felt from other people? As other people have projected their agendas onto you and their disappointment onto you, it was never about you. When people project their pain and their disappointment onto you, it's because they have disapproval somewhere inside of them of their own self. And it's about them. It's not about you. We have some comments coming up. Hold on a second. I didn't realize I was holding on to so much disappointment. Yeah, me neither. Ashley says, tightness in my throat. Yes. So again, your throat is your truth center. It's what allows you to speak your truth. Okay, so speak your truth. It's okay. It's okay to speak your truth. It's okay to stand in your sovereignty. You have the right to feel your feelings and express your feelings honestly and truthfully, and just let them be heard and let them be known. And how other people show up in the presence of your feelings is on them. Especially if you're seeking to show up in a loving way. Chrissy says, my solar plexus is pumping it out, squeezing and releasing. Good. Big breaths. Here's what we're going to do, since all of you guys are now engaged and you're now feeling it and your throat's feeling that stuff. Okay. Aspen says, my throat has cleared so much and I feel tingly in my body, breathing a bit better. Good. The tingling is energy moving. That's blood actually flowing through your body. Where there was blockage, there was less blood flow. And so as that blood flow starts to open up, energy is moving through your blood, and you're going to feel that energy moving. Here we go. We're going to jet the pipes now of any of this gunky, heavy, stagnant, disappointing, self-disapproving energy, because this is really what's preventing you from standing in your personal power and your sovereignty, is self-disapproval and a lack of self-love. It doesn't have anything to do with you being a victim. You're only choosing to play that role because you haven't learned fully how to completely step into that self-love, or you've been disconnected from that self-love. Here we have people saying, I didn't know that was in there, right? I didn't either. So just honor what's coming up. It's okay that it's there. This is a wonderful opportunity to just release. So let's do 15 fire breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. You can do nose and mouth if you want to, but we're going to do 15 together. Ready, go. Use your gut. Now, I know sometimes the audio cuts out on the breathing, but you should hear yourself really pushing that air out forcefully through the lips, like you're blowing out your birthday candle. Cynthia says ears are ringing. Good. You might feel dizzy. Drop your attention back into your body. Go down into your belly, go down into your hips, go down into your legs. Put your awareness there and breathe. Do not hold your breath. You'll pass out. So keep breathing. Drop your shoulders on the exhale. Relax your tongue and your throat and your jaw. You can open your mouth really big and wide. I would, but I have a cold sore on my lip and I don't want to split my lip. But open your mouth big and wide, or smile big and wide. Pull those muscles towards your ears, holding that smile, holding that big open mouth for about 10 counts, and then just release. Drop your attention down. Keep your awareness inside your body if you can. Do not leave the belly or the base of the spine or the hips. You can also go under your feet as well, but stay there with your awareness as you breathe slowly in through the nose, slowing that down, releasing all of your letdown, releasing all of your disappointments, the self-disapproval, the way that you thought others were disapproving of you, releasing that. Just breathe it out, let it go. Sometimes, Cynthia, ears ringing is spirit. So you may want to also, as you go within, just kind of listen, who's here for me? And what do you need me to know? That can be angelic visitors, your guides, a lot of different things. So just ask, who's here for me and what do you need me to know? Sometimes that whooshing or ringing in the ears can be someone's trying to get your attention. They have information to share. And so you can ask, what's this about? And then maybe just write it down as it comes out. Now we're going to shift our focus to, what do you value the most? If you need to write it down, you can write it down. Good job. Cynthia says, got it. Good. What do you value the most? Gosh, I had so many good questions and we didn't even get to them all. I had like 30 of them. Maybe what I'll do, I'll try to type these up and send them over to you. If I don't get them typed, I'll just send a screenshot. How about that? I can do that. I didn't get a handout typed for you guys last time, so sorry about that. Okay. But these questions are really good questions to ask when you get into your body, because then you can start digging in there, rooting around and finding, where am I being prevented from standing as a sovereign being? What is holding me back? What is keeping me stuck? So here's some affirmations as we breathe into this lighter, more freeing, more flowy energy now. I want you to just breathe in, I accept myself completely. And can you give yourself some approval? Just say yes. And can you give yourself some more approval? And can you give yourself even more than that? Just say out loud, I accept myself completely. I am full of radiant, luminous light. It comes from my center. Breathe it in, breathe out all the gunk. Drop your shoulders, drop down deep into your body. Next one, I am. I just am. And how I show up to the world, I have the right to show up the way that I am as the expression of who I am. The next affirmation, breathe it deep down into your bones. I decide. I choose. I decide. I choose. No one gets to project their agenda onto me. I decide how I'm going to show up, how I'm going to feel, how I'm going to interpret, how I'm going to see the world, how I'm going to show up in this world. I decide. And I am responsible for everything that shows up in my internal world. I am responsible. I am. Good. When you claim 100% full responsibility for what shows up in your life and in your body, your inner experience, it's very empowering, because then you recognize and realize, oh, I'm responsible for that. So now I have the power to change it. That is true sovereignty. That is true self-awareness. Again, sovereignty is self-governing. It's the pathway to self-awareness. And the pathway to self-awareness actually leads to deep levels of personal power and courage and inner wisdom. All of the answers are in there. It leads to high levels of self-esteem and confidence and clarity and purpose. That's where your purpose is. That's where your passions are. What do you love? What do you love about life? And do you honor the things that you love, or do you suppress them because somebody else is telling you you can't have that? Are you honoring who you really are inside? Those are good questions to ask as you move forward. Now, give me feedback. Is everybody feeling a little bit lighter? Did the heaviness and the gunkiness start to dissipate? Did you let go? Or do you still have a little more work to do? What are you noticing in your body that's different? Share that in the chat and let me know how it feels different for you now. Shauna says, still more work to do, but much lighter. Okay, good. That's awesome. Good. At least you recognize there's more work to do. You might benefit, Shauna, from the rest of these questions that could really start to trigger where the gunk is in your body. So start noticing, where is it showing up for you? If you find that you need a little bit of extra help, I can help you. That's what I do for a living. My daughter also is an amazing life coach, and she does this work as well. Okay, starting to get feedback. Here we go. Aspen says, released a lot. I feel lighter, still feels like I have work to do, but I made progress. You know, I'm not satisfied with that. I want this to be completely gone for you guys. So let's just do one more thing. Ashley says, I noticed that from my throat, some of that energy went into my jaw. Okay, yeah, let's still release then. Kim says, I feel weak, but in a way that I worked hard and my body and soul needs rest. We can wake your body and soul back up again, if that's what you want. Chrissy says, I feel a menthol in my solar plexus. Yeah, like a tingly, tangy, minty feeling. Yes, I've had that. Cynthia says, recognized a deep core conflict, core belief that I have work to do. Maybe you don't have work to do. Maybe let's just play with this energy and see what's possible. Katie says, breakthrough. It's resting at the throat and the crown. So it looks like you guys still have some left to release. So what we're going to do is something called, this is a release technique that I call the lumberjack. And if you can, I'm not going to do it because I will chop my computer in half. But if you can, stand up with your feet hip width apart and really get into your body. Put your awareness at the base of the spine, or even go down into your hips and your legs and your feet. But you're going to just stand up nice and tall and stand in that power pose. Like maybe even bend your knees just a little bit, expand your feet out even more than hip width apart, and just stand in that power pose and squat down into it a little bit. And I want you to pretend that you're holding a giant axe in your hand, a hatchet, and you're going to chop some wood. And as you chop, I want the sound of to come from your gut, like deep into the gut. I want that to come from your gut and out through your mouth. Now be careful that it's not coming from your throat, because you don't want to damage your vocal cords. I'm a singer and I don't want anybody to damage their vocal cords, but feel it from the gut. The sound should come from your core, your power center. Tammy says, feeling celebratory over just how far I've come and how much I've progressed in such powerful ways. Yes, you should. You have progressed in powerful ways, for sure, standing much more in your sovereignty than you ever did before. I know that. So I want everyone to do at least 3 of these lumberjack karate chops. I mean, not karate chops, hatchet chops. So you're going to raise the hatchet up over your head, really, really tall, and then bend in half as you use your gut to make that sound. Do it 3 times. I got people in my house going, what's going on in there? Oh, that's funny. Good. Let's just jet the pipes and see what happens to your power center as you release. Whew, take some big, deep breaths. Do not hold your breath when you're processing. As long as your awareness is down deep in your body and you're breathing, you're working through it. So just keep working through it. Good. Keep breathing in through your nose, out through the mouth, dropping down, down, down into the belly, into the base of the spine. Yes, go ahead, Sharice.
Hi. I just have a comment with working with clients and helping them to step into their sovereignty. A lot of times I find that they we're well, even working on myself, we're a little bit afraid to let go of whatever it is that that holds us, or whatever it is, whatever relationship that because a lot of those relationships we've had since childhood, and that's comfort and that's home to us, is those toxic relationships where people are controlling us. So a lot of times I find that we have to let go of the fear of that. And sometimes you have to go a little bit deeper into the fear of what it is. And so asking yourself the question, what's the worst thing that's going to happen if I let go of this? Will take you to the root of it, and just keep asking that question over and over again. What is the worst thing that's going to happen? I had to do this with myself. Last year seemed to be a theme of sovereignty for me. It kept coming up again and again and again in some very uncomfortable ways. And it was hard. It was a difficult year last year. Anyways, eventually I sat with myself and I got to the very root of the bottom of this. What's the worst thing that's going to happen if these relationships are broken and let go? And it was a mourning. I had to mourn over the loss of these certain relationships that I thought I needed in my life. And once I got there and realized that, wait a second, I actually can look after myself. I don't need anybody else to do that. I don't need these toxic relationships to make me feel whole. I am whole myself. It was very empowering. So just, I guess maybe my advice is just keep going with it. Keep asking those questions. Because this isn't just a 1-hour class fix.
Yeah.
This is a journey, and I'm still on the journey. It's not, even though it seemed like every day last year was the theme was spiritual sovereignty.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Same here.
so I just keep going with it. And yeah, that's my advice. I don't know.
Yeah. We often, like you said, when there's an imbalance because of trauma or abuse or control or manipulation in these relationships, especially important ones that matter to us and that shape us, we often feel a sense of overwhelm and oppression. And so we do have to get to the root, and that does take some time, hire a coach, get a mentor, get someone who can help you dig in there a little bit deeper and go deeper. Because yeah, it's for many people, it's not going to be something that they'll do in a 1-hour fix, but hopefully it will begin that process of cracking open, so that you can be more aware of when you are not spiritually sovereign. I see that Anne also has a comment. Go ahead, Anne.
So pretty much piggybacking a little bit on what Charisse was saying, and something that stood out, which you said, we get comfortable in that space and holding on to the old habits and behaviors and patterns. And I think one of the most difficult things for all of us here on this, life path, is stepping outside our comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because it's like our brain loves when we're in comfort zones, because it doesn't have to think too much about what do I do, what do I say, how do I act, how do I be in this space. And we love comfort zones.
Yes.
So it's about taking that first little step outside the comfort zone. And Janet shared a lot of great ways to do that. Maybe just taking that breath and say, okay, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, and I'm going to make that one little change, one little shift. And then that's how we keep stepping outside those comfort zones and making those changes. So that's all I want.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I do think there's so much truth there, in that that's how you overcome fear, is by stepping into it a little bit at a time. When you first learn to ski, it's terrifying to think about what's it going to take to get you from the top of the hill down to the bottom of the hill. But what creates a very good, effective skier is someone who has done it over and over and over and over. And it's about taking those little steps as often as you possibly can, as often as those opportunities present themselves, to step into the fear, to step into the unknown, and to let go of the things that are really holding you back, which is usually self-disapproval and a lack of self-love and some fear going on. And so if we can recognize that in ourselves when those opportunities present themselves, then we're less likely to be subject to other people's agendas that are being put onto us through manipulation and control. And I think that the more self-aware that you become, the more humble you become, and you have a tendency to project less onto others. So all good thoughts. Thank you. Is there anybody else? We have Shauna says, it took me 7 times going snowboarding before I could go down a hill without falling. Well, you're 7 steps ahead of me. I'm terrified of having both feet strapped in. Cynthia says, we are safe. We don't have to seek safety in all of our actions. Yes, we are safe. That's the essence of who you really are. You are whole. You are safe. And that safety that's your root chakra. That's your foundation. That's how you are connected to this world. So all good points. Thank you guys for sharing. Anybody else have anything, any comments, any responses? Anybody have an amazing experience, amazing epiphanies that they'd like to share before I let you guys go for the day? Shauna says, I loved the lumberjack and standing, very helpful. Yeah, did that help you guys release a little bit more of what was going on in there? hopefully you can return to this exercise, watch the replay, do it a little more. Again, I will send you the questions that will help to kind of trigger more of this stuff in you so that you can dive a little deeper. Thanks for being here, everybody. Thank you for participating. I love you all so much. And I love this opportunity that we have to do our inner work together and to bring these things up and to the surface and out into the open and heal one with another. So thank you for being here. If you got value from this, share it with other people that you think might also benefit as well. And everybody go have an amazingly blessed day. Anne, did you have one more comment before?
Oh, just thank you so much for your loving guidance and work and what you share with everyone, for your wonderful gift. Thank you, my dear.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for being here. I love you all. Everybody have a beautiful, blessed day. Katie says, blessings all. Thank you, Yeshua. Thank you, Janet. Love you all. All right. Mwah. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Go be more sovereign.